artists and art lovers. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 8 of Princeton Makes podcast. Today we have Vivian Slee here with us. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Soba.
Hi. And we're going to start with explaining where we are. We are at Princeton Makes. And Vivian, I always let my guests explain what Princeton Makes is.
So Princeton Makes is this amazing space in the Princeton Shopping Center in central New Jersey of artists where a bunch of artists have come together to create a co-op. Many of them have studios and they're making their art right here, but they also sell their work here too. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for these artists to come together from very different backgrounds and places in their lives to make art.
Great. So I always love to hear it from other people's perspective. So Vivian is the Artist of the Month of May, and that means that her work is going to be on our window. And also she's going to do an artist talk on May 9th. Mm-hmm. And also she's doing this podcast. Anything else happening as an Artist of the Month?
Actually, I'm doing a small show at the Small World on Nassau Street. So Small World is our local coffee shop. And there's a smaller location on Nassau Street near our restaurant.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, for the month of June.
So, Vivian, what kind of art do you make?
So right now I have been painting and drawing. I make drawings out of using charcoal and pencil and pen and paintings. Right now I'm working in acrylic, mostly, wash as well.
Yeah, and you have a studio here.
I do, yes. Well, I have a studio in the basement next to Crystal Huang, who, if you didn't hear her podcast, she was fantastic. She's my studio mate downstairs, along with Mary Lundquist as well. Yeah, and cool. April and a few others downstairs as well. Yeah.
How is it to create in a basement?
It's actually pretty good. I feel like it's a well-kept secret. We can be down there, and there might be a lot of activity up here on the main floor. Yeah. And downstairs, it is quiet. You can focus and play your music. Mm-hmm. You can do whatever you want, and nobody's going to bother you. Yeah. So, I don't mind when people come by to look at the work, certainly, or to chat, but it's nice to have that space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long have you been making art?
I've been making art since I was a child.
Yeah.
I come from a family where, I had an older sister who was amazingly talented, a real prodigy, I'd say, as an artist. And my father is a poet. My older brother is a theater person in New York. He's very involved with nonprofit theater. Mm-hmm. My other brother was always very musical. So I think artistic. I had to find something artistic to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you go to school to study art?
Yeah, so I did my undergraduate degree at Drew University in New Jersey, and I studied art there. I was a kid who finished high school and did not want to go to college. I didn't think it was a good idea to go and spend a lot of money when you weren't sure what you wanted to do. So I went to an art school in Philadelphia for a year, and then I went to community college for half a year, and then ended up at Drew, which turned out to be a very good place to be.
Yeah. That's an art school or?
No, it's a liberal arts university. Okay. And I went in sort of not quite sure still what I wanted to do at that point, but I found the art department, and I just thought I had some amazing professors there who I'm still friendly with, who I felt could teach me more about the world than anybody else I had met there. So that was amazing.
Did you do any art after school, after like your undergrad?
After university, I ended up working for Peter Halley, who was a big art star of the 1980s and who still continues to be quite well known in contemporary art. And then I went to work for his dealer in Germany for a few years, Raphael Jablonka, and then I came back to New York and I worked for Ileana Sonnabend. And all of these people were sort of part of my art education, I'd say, the process of me making art.
And so you were making art while you were working for this people?
I was writing and I was making art. So I wrote as well.
What did you write?
I was writing prose, fiction.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
Are you still?
No, I'm not. Although I think about it a lot in terms of wanting to incorporate narrative into my work in some way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you worked for galleries and for other artists, and then you were writing, and also you were painting and drawing. And then
And I did a master's degree. I did an MFA at Columbia in writing.
Yeah. Writing. So you wrote also fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened to that?
I think having a full-time job happened to that, really, because I just couldn't stand looking at a computer again after the day was over. And I think also I was reading a lot of fiction and had a lot of images coming into my head that I wanted to paint. I was compelled to paint them. And so I slowly sort of made my way back to painting.
Painting kind of took over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really meant to be.
Yeah. I won a New Jersey State Fellowship, the artist grant per prose.
Wow.
Many years ago, which was really great. And
was it like money to...
It was great. And it was also 2 Broadway actors reading my work on stage. So I wrote 3 different projects and I finished each of them, and I had an agent for a time, and then just thought, this is taking too long. I don't really enjoy this part of the process. Mm-hmm. And then continued working on other projects.
You work at the university now?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Sort of by chance. We had lived abroad. We were living in London, and we came back, and I was looking for something to do, and a friend recommended me for a position there. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What do you do there now?
I'm Associate Director of Graduate Admission for the School for Public and International Affairs.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's talk about how do you make your art? How do you start?
I get inspiration from a few different places, I'd say, from photographs that I take myself, asking friends and family to pose in certain ways, or from scenes of family, a lot of domestic sort of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And then also for reading fiction, I'd say, from my background, I'm Colombian American, so my mother's from Colombia.
Yeah.
And growing up, as a dual identity person in a bicultural household, you're never really American when you're in America. You're never really Colombian when you're in Colombia.
Yeah, I know that.
And so I think, I'm sure you do. And so, and your kids will know that feeling too. But for me, it was always trying to figure out how to tell the narrative of my own experience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And from the time that I was young, I was drawing pictures, and very often it was telling a story about my friends and setting the scene and trying to understand the world through whatever I was drawing.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about like one painting that you made? How did it start and how?
Like for the process, yeah. So there's a painting that I made recently that I really like that, and it's rare for me to like my work, I guess. At this point in my life, though, now I like it more. I think when you're younger, it's very easy to be hard on yourself as an artist. Yeah. So now, though, I've sort of let go of that harshness.
That's good.
Life is too short to do that to yourselves. So all you artists out there listening, don't be so hard on yourselves. And it's a painting of a yurt in the landscape. And so my cousin and his friend set up a giant yurt on their property in the Catskills. And it's just very beautiful because it's set against a mountain up on the side. And it's about sort of living in nature, but it's also about my cousin and this property that he bought, that he and his wife, and how they are trying to sort of restore it and live there, sort of being in nature, but in the community as well. And it's just a really interesting story, I think, that they're doing there.
So how did it become a painting?
I was up there visiting.
Yeah.
And wandering around.
You were wandering around and then you thought this can be a painting?
No, I took a picture of it, and then it's not necessarily that I see things and I think, that will be a painting. It's more that I take a lot of pictures, and then much later, because I probably took that picture 2 years ago, much later I'll come back to it and realize that there's something about the composition, about the color, about the challenge of the composition and the color together, and the narrative that I might want to convey in it, that really compels me to try to paint this painting. So
you think, what am I going to paint next? And look over your photos, or you just look over your photos and then you see it and like, this is what I'm going to paint?
I think I've painted more thematically, I have to say. So I had to go to Colombia for 6 weeks during COVID, when there were a lot of protests, and I was in the middle of I walked in the protests. I took a lot of pictures then. And I did a bunch of paintings on paper while I was there, wash paintings, just doing whatever I could while I was there.
Yeah.
And so that became a series of protest paintings. And then at the same time, I was making another series. I had to look after my mother for 6 weeks, and she was having dental work done, and her friend kept sending her these huge bouquets of herbs. And every day, another big bunch of herbs were coming. And
It's a Colombian thing?
no, it's not a Colombian thing. It was just her friend saying, you need to have these herbs. You need to make tea.
Yeah.
You need to drink the tea, and this will heal your mouth.
Wow, that's great.
And so it seemed to me the right thing to do was to try to capture these herbs because they were about healing, and the country at that time needed healing. There was a lot going on because of COVID, because of unhappiness politically, and so on. And so I thought the herbs would be a good series to paint. I just also love painting nature, or trying to. I think it's the biggest challenge ever. So, yeah.
You did the protest series, the Arab series, and then to Colombia. You did the yurt.
Yeah, the yurt it's part of the backyard series.
Thank you.
So I've been making all these paintings that are set in backyards in one way or another. So I just finished a small painting of some friends playing croquet in a backyard, and my neighbor's laundry hanging on the line. Backyard. Yeah. I wanted that to be a series. I was very deliberate about the theme of that. So maybe the theme actually comes first, or the story that I'm trying to tell. So I'm telling a story about herbs, or about protests, or now about backyards. So I guess I've never spoken about my art. I just want to say I've never talked about my work before. So it's a challenge.
So themes, and then you create some paintings. But what about the ones that you ask people to pose for you?
So that's just photographs. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
So you have this idea of something that you want to see in the frame, and you ask somebody to just do it.
Well, I have an idea of the way somebody might look in a particular landscape, and I can just capture them there. So there's a photo of my nephew grabbing to reach a blackberry in Ireland. My husband's from Ireland, and so we spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And he's reaching across for it, and you see this huge bush, and then the sea is behind him down far away, and it's mostly sky.
Yeah.
But I love that image, and that's an image I might consider painting.
You asked your nephew to
I did. I said, you need to, because I saw him doing it, and then he was eating the blackberries, and I said, stop, could you please do that again, and let me try and get a picture of you doing it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And then I just took a bunch of pictures there. Yeah.
Do you have some paintings that are not part of series?
I do. Yeah. No, I can't always work that way. And I do a lot of drawings of people that I don't know. They're very non-gendered people, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah. Just people from my imagination.
So not even for a picture?
No.
Wow.
And
that's a talent.
Yeah, it's hard. It is much harder to draw from your imagination, to paint from your imagination. I think that's my goal eventually. I'd like to get there.
Why?
I think because I'm looking for the language that is most my own to convey what I'm trying to say through painting here. And I suppose a lot can be taken from photographs. You can be inspired. And I should say that I actually change a lot in the photos too. So everything's not just as it is in the photo that I took. I change things around. I look at old photos sometimes too that belong to other people, and I might take one image from there and put it in a certain landscape and then change things around as well.
So how do you decide what to draw?
I don't really. I just sit down and I start drawing. Yeah. I find it always very surprising what you're going to come up with. And I sort of like that. It's very freeing. I feel like they're much more personal. So even though they're on Instagram, I don't share them in real life as much, maybe. Mm-hmm. Although one of my daughters said, this is the work that I like.
Yeah. I think this is the work that I saw first time that you made. Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. Great. Thanks. With the painting, there's never a day when I feel like it's a labor or it's something that I'm not drawn to. I'm really compelled to paint every day.
So you always enjoy?
I do. Yeah.
Because I was speaking with Crystal.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that?
Yeah.
So of course it is. Maybe it's also a matter of age. Yeah, we were talking about that too.
Yeah.
It sounds like a mix of pleasure and pain and nurture.
I get that. I get that, you know, you might be, and I certainly have that experience from time to time where I sit down to work and I'm really frustrated because I think this is not going where I want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I know from experience that if I stay and I keep working, that I will eventually get to where I want to go. I think that's a lesson that I've learned over many years.
Yeah. You have to know yourself.
Yeah.
Have a lot of experience.
Yeah. There are definitely, you know, paintings that I really don't like that I put away.
Yeah. But it's not painful.
No, it's not painful. I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's disappointing.
Yeah.
But I'll put them away and then I might take them out again. But I have a few paintings downstairs that are definitely hidden away.
Yeah. What's your near future plan and maybe further future plan if you have any?
I think I've been really lucky with the people that I've met in my life, all the artists, all the people who work around art, finding this community here as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you, how did you get to Praise on May?
You helped me come here. You sent me the invitation. I was delighted. And I think it wasn't until you said, are you looking for a studio, that I realized, actually, I am looking for a studio because I've been painting from my attic for a long time.
Oh,
So future, I think for me, when I think about painting and my work, I just think about becoming a better painter. I just want to get better at it. I want more clarity with what I'm trying to say. But I also would like to begin to be in group shows, group exhibitions, and to maybe have a solo exhibition one day and so on. I feel like I set the bar quite high for myself because I worked in the art world and it's a very competitive place. And the type of art world that I worked in was not welcoming to me at the time, I'd say, like a young Latino woman who wants to paint figurative paintings.
Yeah.
I think it was also that I just wasn't brave enough at the time to make those paintings.
We're young.
Yeah. And so now I feel like I have a bit more courage to make my paintings and to show them to people. I've seen little success here and there in terms of getting into group shows, so that's been nice.
But wait, you don't sell here?
I don't sell here because I don't have time to do the co-op hours that are required of people every week because of my job. Because I work full-time, I'm lucky in that I'm not dependent upon an income from my work. And that also, it takes off a lot of pressure in terms of developing the work and thinking about what I want to do and doing anything that I want to do versus something that I think might sell. I like having that freedom.
So, Vivian, it's time for a rapid question round. Are you ready? Oh dear. Who is your favorite artist of all time?
Contemporary artist, I'd say Gerhard Richter. Maria Berrio is another one.
What is your favorite material to create with?
Right now, acrylic.
What is the place that you feel most creative at?
Princeton Makes Arts Cooperative.
What music or podcast or soundtrack do you like to listen to when you create?
Everything from Beyonce to Khruangbin to
music.
Yeah.
What is your artistic nightmare?
Well, certainly I'd worry about losing my vision in some way, my eyesight.
Yeah.
I know that there are artists who continue to make art even without their eyesight. So I'd say just hurting my hand, maybe not being able to paint. Yeah, I do with my feet or something.
It's been done before. What is the percentage of you making art and admin?
I'd say right now making art is about 80%, admin about 20%.
Okay, that's not bad. In one word, how do you describe how you feel when you make art?
Liberation.
No.
Liberated.
That's it for us today. Thank you so much, Vivian, for being here.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
You have the Artist Open May 9, which is a Thursday, and it's at 6:30.
That's right.
Gathering at 7, you're going to start talking. How else can we find you? What's your Instagram?
You can find me on Instagram at @VipPaintsFromTheAttic.
Okay. If you're interested in buying the art, you can DM on Instagram. You can come to Crystal Makes and meet Vivian and chat with her.
And meet all the other artists here too.
And all the other artists.
In place.
Yeah. Please come visit us. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us to princetonmakespodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you want to be added to our mailing list. We have a lot of events happening here, so you can be updated. Please rate and share this podcast so it can reach others and maybe inspire them to create. Our designer is RD, and our theme music is by Renata Pugh. I'm Gerhard Lavi-Hasson, producing and hosting. We're located at the Princeton Shopping Center and open Thursday to Sunday, 10 to 6. Till next time, be creative and kind.